and then I was using my wife's car because the car I normally drive went to service. And her car wouldn't start. So yeah, a little bit of a snafu there. Thankfully, it sorted out. Car started and was able to come home. Right, let me get in Ayaz. Hey, Ayaz, good afternoon. Good to see you on today, man. Get Janaya out. With what is the replays? Wait, no, it's here. Watch the replays as well. Watch the replays. You might be here soon. All right, afternoon, everybody. How you all doing today? Hope you had a good weekend. I know Maraca Saturday, yes, boy. You know, first time in a while. Okay, folks, we are continuing our partnership revision. Last week, we took a look at how to do the partnership appropriation account. So we started with the 2016 January question. Sorry, it was Cassie and Casey. Today, we're going to take a look at how to do what we call the current accounts, right? So people start a business to make a profit, right? And the profit goes to the owners. And as we know, with a partnership, we have multiple owners. We definitely have more than one. We have at least two, right? At most, well, the max number depends on the country you're in and that kind of stuff. Yeah, so it can be between 20 and 50, depending. Well, between 2 people and 50 people, right? Usually we say between 2 and 20. Now, the current accounts show the partner's earnings and withdrawals, right? Now, anything the owner takes out of the business for his or her own personal use is called what? Drawings, right? So the drawings will go there as well as the interest on drawings. Now, those will be the charges against the partner, right? So when you hit charges against, what do you think is going to do to the earnings? Increase or decrease? Decrease, right? And the earnings. So in the appropriation account, you'll find the partner's earnings. We have 3 items: interest on capital, salary, and share of profit, right? So in this question, which is the 2016 JAM, which is the first one we did last year as well. Sorry, maybe last week. My apologies. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to print this question out again for everybody. No, I want the current view. Yeah, that's actually what I want. That could work. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, cool. So I will do 12 copies. Give me 1 second, let me make sure. That could work. And what I'll do for my online people is I will send you guys a picture of what's on the screen. Right, I'm also going to send a picture of this because we are going to be pulling information from the appropriation account. Hey, Mandeep, good afternoon. How you doing? Good to have you on. Or we're not going to start something there, so you didn't miss anything really. What I could suggest you do is actually use the space below the question. Right, so you can put it below there, or you can put it in your own book. Cases. So there's only going to be, sorry, yeah. Right. So let me actually, all right, cool. Put on that side, put on this side. Zoom enough. All right, cool. Right, so I want that staying that way. Right, so I'm not going to use any date columns because I just find it a waste of time for CSEC questions, to be honest. So, right, so just give me a couple of seconds to head up the current account, sorry. So, sorry, so we're going to do the current account for Cassie, right? Right. So what a current account is an account to show the partner's earnings and withdrawals kind of all summarized in one place, right? So the earnings for the partner will go on the credit side. The withdrawals will go on the debit side. And again, you only have 3 earnings items and you only have 2 withdrawals items. You also have balances, but we'll talk about that just now, right? So like I said, the earnings for the partners will be the interest on capital, but there's no particular order in which you have to put this, right? Or you could also have a salary, and you can have the share, not share, but share of profit, all right? So for, hold on, actually, right, and then for the withdrawals would be the drawings and the interest on drawings, right? So I'm actually just going to copy and paste this down here as well. Change that to Casey. Why Casey have 2 eyes? Well, I guess most people do. Anyway, right. So I think my face blocking some stuff on that side. Right. Okay, so here's what we'll do. Instead of a side-by-side split, I'm going to do a top and bottom split. Try that instead. Ooh, hold on, sorry. And I could zoom out. Here's about 150. Right. So Cassie on top there. Yeah, we could do 200. Right. All right, lovely. So let's now, again, there's no specific sequence in which you have to fit these things in. All right. Now, also, just so you know, right, it said Cassie and Casey entered into partnership on the 1st of Jan, and we are doing this stuff for the 31st of December 2015, right? And we started Jan 2015. Now, because this is the first year of the partnership, right, there'll be no opening balances in the current accounts. The current account balances usually only really end up at the end of the first year or during the course of the first year. But at the very start of the first year, there'll be no opening balances, right? And normally, an opening balance in the current account will go on the credit side, but it is possible for it to go on the debit side. All right, Kyle, afternoon, Kyle, how you doing? Yeah, Kyle, I don't check the YouTube comments very often, so if you ask a question, I'll take long to answer. It's nothing personal, right? I'm just trying to make sure I pay attention to my class, right? Okay, so let's say, what was the interest on capital for Cassie? 14.2. Right, let's put that in. Right, so 14,200. Was there a salary for Cassie? No, there was a salary for Casey. Okay, now if there's no salary for somebody, you don't have to put in the actual item, right? You can leave it out and you can just put the share profit next, right? But just for the sake of consistency in appearance, let's put a 0. So again, normally you just leave it out, right? Now the share of profit, if we scroll down to see the share of profit, actually, can I zoom out a little bit here? Yeah. So for Cassie, her share of profit is 37.74. Okay, cool. Now for the drawings, right, we can actually scroll up here a little bit. So the drawings is 7% of 25,000, right? Sorry, the interest on drawings is 7% and the drawings is 25,000. 25,000 there. And the 7% is 1750. Okay, cool. So if we were to add up both sides here right now, which side is bigger, the debit side or the credit side? Sorry, one sec. Right, debit. Oh, very good. Lovely. Right, so the debit side is the bigger total, okay? Which means the balance has to be carried down from this side here. How do we find that balance? Well, we simply find the difference between these two totals, right? So that'll be equal to this minus the sum of dot. Right, 8776. Right, and now what we do is we bring sorry. Yeah. Right, so now we're gonna put a little double line here. I'm gonna bring the balance to balance, brought down, sorry. 8776. Cool. Right. Okay. And there you go. And that is the current account for Cassie. All right. Sorry, I didn't see. Ray had a question. Did you ask a question, right? I don't know if you thought you typed it, but you copy and paste it. That would be easier for me to just sort it out. Hey Danielle, how you doing? Oh, thanks very much. You want it? Okay, lovely. Yeah. Okay. Okay. In class, people, have you any questions on the current account layout? Right, as you can see, there's only about 5 items that go inside of it, maybe 6 if you count the balance. And yes, you can have an opening balance, but again, because Cassie and Casey just started their partnership, there will be no opening balance. All right. Okay. And Google Meet. So Aisha, Liana, I as sorry, Jordan, Cassie, Mandeep, and Matthias. If you guys are good with that, just kind of give me a quick Genie chat. If of course you need me to re-explain anything, give me an R. Okay, lovely. All right, so what I would like you guys to do, if you're good with it, please do up what is her name? Your next partner, Casey, do up her current account. All right, so re-explain, right? So once again, a partner's current account shows their earnings and withdrawals from the partnership, right? The earnings can be found, right, in the appropriation account, right? So the interest on capital, the salary, and the share of profit, those are the 3 earnings of the partners, right? So you'll see them here on the credit side. Now, in this case, Cassie didn't earn a salary. Yeah, Ray, I'm not seeing your question. I don't know where it went. Yeah, just copy it and paste it now. I'll happily answer when I get a second to do so. Right. Yeah. So if there's no salary for that partner, you can actually just leave out that whole line. Yeah. So thereafter, the share of profit, right? Cool. Right now for the withdrawals, that's where the drawings and the interest on said drawings come into play. Right. So as you can see, we only really have 3 items on one side and 2 on the next, excluding the balance. Mm-hmm. You could actually write it on the bottom of that one, but as I go along, I'll put out some more stuff, right? That's what I'm doing right now, Caleb. Yeah, this is my actual class. The TikTok stream is a backup stream to my YouTube stream because sometimes a couple things went wrong with the YouTube stream a couple times. So TikTok as a backup has actually saved me a couple times. Yeah. Right. So what you guys are doing now? Oh, hold on. Sorry, one sec. We don't hold that down, right? Yeah. Right. So sorry. So I'll give you a minute or so again. Any questions? It's a question, yes? Question. Wow. Okay. Really? All right, cool. All right, guys, let's take a look at Casey's current account, shall we? So again, there will be no opening balance because the partnership just started, and at the very start, they have no balance of earnings or withdrawals. Right. So for Casey, right, Casey's interest on capital was 12,008. Salary. So Casey actually got a salary. That's 25,000. Right, and Casey's share of profit was 2516. Right, and then her drawings 22,000, and the interest on drawings is 1540. Right, so if we add up both sides here now, right, so which total is bigger, the debit side or the credit side total? Credit side total, right? Which means therefore the balance has to be carried on from the debit side. That's equal to the 40,316 minus the 23,540, right? Right, okay, let's put a double line there. And balance brought down 16,776. Right. Okay, I'm gonna maximize this pieces so we can see both of them at the same time, all right? Right, so what we saw here is that for sorry, question? Okay, for Cassie earned what's that going? 25 or 26,000. No, sorry, 17 or 18,000. Here's Yuri. Hey Yuri, after I did. Okay, low vibes. Yeah. Yeah. So Cassie didn't earn as much as she withdrew. So what ends up happening is if you withdraw more than you earn, you end up with a deficit on your current account. Right? So this debit balance indicates a deficit. Yeah. Right. So when the partner invests capital into the business, what the interest does is it like a reward for the investment. Right? Yeah. So it's the partner's earnings, yes. What's going on here? Oh crap! I messed up something here. Give me one sec. Sorry about that. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Sorry. So what happens here When a partner has a debit balance on their current account, it indicates a deficit. That's because they took out more than they earned. All right. Now, with KCS, we could see there's a credit balance. So what do you think that is going to happen? Is that going to be a deficit? No. Right? So a credit balance indicates a surplus, right, on the partner's current account. Yo. Uh-huh. Oh. Yeah, well, put some good stuff under them names. But when I say that, I like doing that, you know? Yeah. Yeah, they keep it interesting somehow, you know? Uh, right, okay, cool. I'm on your right. Okay, so okay, in class, people, are we okay with the current accounts as they are presented on the screen? Any questions? Yeah. No questions? All right. All right, Google Meet. The drill. All right, cool. No, you're not. You don't have to write this in your current account. That's just me putting notes. Yeah, that's just me indicating, hey, look, this is what this balance means, right? So yeah, so when you guys write this, you're just putting that as notes. When you actually do a current account, you're not gonna put that stuff that's highlighted there. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Oh, Google Meet. You gave us feedback already. What? Okay, good. Thanks very much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 out of 8. Next 3, let me know. Okay, so folks, those are the current accounts for Cassie and KCC. The next question was in May 2018. Let me pull that up, print it out. All right, that's Chris and Boone. No. Oh, Benji and Nico. Okay. Okay, one second. All right, one second. Okay. Thanks for taking like super freaking long. Run. So 12 and triple. Oh. All right, so this one's gonna come with oh. Yo. Yeah, sure. Yeah, same thing. Why not? All right, guys. Yeah. The format to use, right? The format I'm going to give you all actually has space for both partners' information. I'm kind of going to walk through this with you all again. As you can see, the accounts tend to be a little shorter in terms of how much work is required. But the majority of the work is already done for the appropriation account. It's just a total expense. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you can use all that. All right, guys. Let's take a crack at it. Okay, so Benji and Nika, what I'll do is I'll pull up the solution for the current account for Benji and Nika as well. This one here. Right. All right, so right, Benji and Nika are in partnership, sharing profits and losses in the ratio 3:2 at the close of business on 31st December 2017. The following information was taken from their books of accounts, right? So we have capital balances. Now look, we have current account balances at the start of the year. Benji, what does this DR mean? Doctor? No, it means debit. So Benji has a debit balance at start, whereas Nika has a credit balance at start. All right. So it then says, now we have the appropriations technically here, but we're going to pull them from the appropriation account. All right. So if you give me a second, let me pull this to the top. And actually, I'm going to put this one below. Right. So this one, they gave you. So sorry, let me show you the format they gave you, right? They gave you what I like to call a dual current account, where you could put a column for Benji, a column for Nick. So almost like a cash book where you have one column for cash, one column for bank. Right, same thing here. You have a column for Benji, column for Nick on each side of the question. All right, so let me just do up a format real quick in Excel. All right, so again, I'll leave that space there. This one and this one. Five, all right, cool. That's good. All right, so current accounts. Get a line going there. Get a line going there. Right, so we're gonna put Benji. Sorry, that's the wrong button. Nika. Okay, so the first thing we're going to put in is the balances. All right. ID and 2-1. Right. So Benji has a debit balance. This is the debit side here. So you put balance brought down, 1300. On the next side, you're going to put balance brought down as well. But on the Nika's one, you're going to put 8200. Right. So that's how you start off this particular current account. All right. Now, let me actually get the one top. Right. So I'm going to go here to the main. Okay. So it's kind of small. You know what? I will pull this down a little bit more and I will zoom in right around here. Right. So I think you could see everything you need to see there, right? So as we know what's supposed to go in the current accounts, we're supposed to have the interest on capital on the credit side, also the salary, as well as the share of profit. Right. And of course, on this side now, you're going to have the drawings and the interest on drawings. Right. So what you do is you put each partner's information under their column. All right. All right. So I'll give you a few minutes. Let me see what you come up with. All right. Wait, my Google Meet people. I didn't give you all a format to fill out. Well, I'll let you draw it up today. If you're one, fill up one, let me know. The F. Give me an F in the, for format if you want the format. Fill up a format. Yo. About intro for it.
I want to exit you.
Alright. Yeah. Well, technically all in the first part, so yeah. We could workshop it. We could workshop it. It's a start. Yeah. The first idea is not always the best idea, but there's a starting point. And it's better than no idea.
It was not better than no idea.
That's why it's called a blind idea, right? No idea. Well, yeah. And why it's called a blind idea with no legs? Still no idea. Where's find a blind idea with no legs? Right where I left it. And if it was deaf, right? What you just call a deaf blind there with no legs? Nothing, not gonna come anyway. Right. Right. So I'm gonna put in a couple of pieces here, right? So the interest on capital, 16 and 14. Salary. So only Nika had a salary. So if that's the case, you put a 0 under Benji, and they put the 5,000, or how much ever the value is in the Nika's column. And the share of profit, right? So 13 or 29. Right. So I'll hold it there for a minute or two again. Let you all fill in the drawings, interest on drawings, and then balance it off. Right. So it's quite possible that Benji could end up still with a what do you call it, a debit balance, but I feel they'll both end up with credit balances. Right, let's go. Right, so the drawings figure. What was Benji's drawings? 6,000. Nika was 43. And the interest was 300 and 215 separately. All right, gonna maximize here now. Let's zoom in a little bit more. All right, so I feel like that should be easy enough to see. Right, so again, what we do is we're gonna find the total on both sides. So here now, good. Should pull that one down. That's fine. Right there, right there. Okay, cool. Now, clearly, each of these partners has a bigger credit total than debit total. So the balance in both cases will be carried down, from the debit side. All right, cool. So how do we find the balances now? We have to subtract. What we'll do, let's do one at a time. So let's do Benji first. So Benji's balance would be 29,029 minus the 76, right? Right, so 21,429 for Benji. And for Nika, it would be the 35,886 minus the sum of the 31. Okay. Right, and then just bring your balance down here. That is the, sorry, yeah, the, how to do, well, I guess what you call joint current accounts. Yeah, I should put like, okay. All right, in class, people, how are we feeling with the current accounts of Benji and Nika? Any questions, problems, anything, or are we okay with them? Good? Okay. All right, Google Meet. You all know the drill. If you guys are good with that, give me a G in the chat. If you need me to re-explain, give me an R. Please and thanks. All right, okay, everybody. All right, lovely. All right. Copy now. Okay, cool, no problem. All right. So copy him? Okay. No, no. Right, cool. Right, now we'll take a look at the May 2021. Right. Avril and Bernice. Okay, cool. So, right. Yo. Ah. From 2000 and like videos, right? 2008 to 2024. So 17 years. I have to post the 2024 ones. Just taking a little time to edit them. I have them done. And I have the 2025 solution done, but not recorded. Yeah, so by the end of this year, it'll be 18 years worth. I have solutions from before that, but I just didn't go and record all of them, like 2007, 6. Because in 05, 06, the syllabus changed. So there'd be some stuff that wouldn't be in the syllabus anymore. So, right. Okay, right. So we have the 2021 May June question here. It's Avril and Bernice. Right. So we did the appropriation account last week, Wednesday, which I'll send to you guys in the chat just now. Right. But here I'm going to leave up the information regarding the capital and current accounts and the drawings. Right, cool. So one. Oh. Okay, right. What I'll do is I'll print out the format here, right? Okay, right. And let me find the 2021 appropriation account for Avril and Bernice. Right, sending this in the chat. Right, so I send the information in chat that you should be able to use to do the current accounts, right? And again, we're doing the current accounts for both partners. Right, let me just give her the all right, ladies and gents, let me talk. All right, a couple of spares if anybody needs a spare. Yeah. All right, so yeah, what we're gonna do? Give me 1 sec. Let me actually copy and paste the Right. Right, so not Benji, so it's Avril, Bernice. Right. Take all that stuff there. Right, so we'll put the balance in. So 15,000 on the debit for Avril. And Bernice had a 35,000 credit balance, right? Okay, cool. So now what we'll do is we'll put the appropriation account at the top there. Put it out to 150 or so. What I could do, I could actually copy these figures. Just kind of stick them down here. right? So yeah, so you have this here as well, right? So what I want you to do for me is using the information that's currently visible. I want you to complete the current accounts for Avril and for Bernice, right? You have your interest on capital, your salary for one partner, share of profit, and on the right hand side, I've copied and pasted the information for the drawings and interest on drawings. All right, let's start putting in some stuff. what items go on the credit side of the current account? Interest on capital, salary, and share of profit. Very good. All right. So for Avril, what we have? Right. Bernice was very good. All right. Salary. Right. And a big salary for Bernice. All right. Share of profit. Right. What goes on the debit side now? Huh? Okay. The drawing figure for Avril. And Bernice was 1,000. All right. The interest was 1,700, and then wait. All right. Cool. Okay. Right. So I think in both cases, the credit side total is greater than the debit side. So the balance will be to be balances will be carried down from the debit side, right? Nope. Oh yeah, that's fine. Right. So the balance here would be the 43,140 minus this. Yeah. Right. So we have 9,440 and 99,560. And both balances come down here. Balance brought down. 9440 and 99,500. Those are big differences. Okay, that's a little too much. Out a little bit. Send it in the chat. Okay. All right. In class, people, are we okay with the solution on the screen for the current accounts for Avril and Bernice? Any questions? Any problems? Anybody? Are we good? All right. Google Meet. You guys know the drills. You guys are good with that. Can you give me a quick G in the chat? If you need me to re-explain, not a problem. Let me know. Cool. All right. So 8. All right. Okay, cool. Let's put this down as well. Barney and Swiper. Okay, so give me 1 sec. Print out some stuff there for you all. Okay. So we'll do Barney and Swiper, and I'll send the information here. the information for Barney and Swiper. Now let's send you the appropriation account. Okay, give me one sec. Yeah, see him. Right. Okay. So let's right. So we'll bypass part A. So it says Barney and Swiper in partnership. Their current account balances at 31st March 2015 before appropriation. Whoa, sorry, one sec. I forgot to check something real quick. Yeah. So Barney was 25. Now Swiper, what do these brackets around Swiper's balance mean here? That's a debit. It's a negative balance, right? So that means it's on the debit side, right? So when balances have brackets, that means they're negative balances, so they go on the opposite side of whatever the increase is. So for current accounts, credits the increase, which means debits the decrease. Okay, so it says here, state the significance of the brought down balance on each partner's current account. Right, so Barney has a credit balance. Now, we said something about that a bit earlier, didn't we? We said it here. Right, a credit balance indicates a surplus on the current account, whereas a debit balance indicates a deficit on the right. Okay, so that's what will go here, right? So you can see on Barney's current account, the credit balance indicates a surplus, whereas on Swiper's current account, the debit balance indicates a deficit. Long story short, right? Okay, now they give you, so it's really only that information at the top we need, because the other information we could glean from the appropriation account, right? So current accounts, let's push that to the top, and we'll push this one below. Right. Right. Where were they? Okay. So I think everything you need to do the current accounts for Barney and Swiper, everything is visible, right? You have their opening balances to the top. You have the interest on capital, the salary, share of profit, the drawings, and the interest on drawings. Right. Okay. So go ahead. I'll give you a couple minutes to sort that out. It's been a mix of like the double accounts and sometimes just a single one, right? Whatever they bring for you, to be prepared to do. Well, I would say do what the space allows, right? So maybe you could do one tier account on top and one tier account below, or you could save some time and try and fit both of them in one. You could always turn the page sideways. Anyway, she's gonna to get some more water. Back. All right, cool. Ready? Or I'm going to do it again. Okay. All right. How to do this. Barney and Swiper. All right. So Barney had the credit balance, 2,500, and Swiper had the debit balance. All right, cool. So we start in there. Right. Let's pull this down a little bit. Let's pull this back down as well. Okay, cool. So what goes on the credit side? Interest on capital, right? Salary and share of profit. Right. So for Barney, interest on capital was 3,000. Salary was 36. Share of profit was 25,050. Sorry, 1,000, 36,000, and 25,050. Right. For Swiper, we had 1,750, no salary, and 16,700. All right. What goes on the debit side? Drawings and interest on drawings. Very good. All right. So for Barney, I'm seeing 4,000 for the drawings and 200 for the interest. For Swiper, I'm seeing 12,000 and 300 respectively. Okay. I think that's all we have to pull. Okay, cool. So let's take a look. Oh, sorry. Right. So this is supposed to go here, and this is supposed to. All right. Sorry. Thank you. Yeah. I mixed up. I put things in the wrong place. Sorry about that. Thank you. Okay. We looking better now? All right. Cool. All right. So we still have the credit side totals being greater than the debit side totals, which means the balances are both carried down from the debit side. For Barney, we're going to take the 66,550 and minus the 4,200. And for Swiper, we're going to do the same thing. 18 minus the right. Sorry. We're going to put that as a big line there. It's a total line, and I'm going to bring it balance on here. Okay. Play, all right? Oh, now we got to put in. You'll get marks for everything else you have correct. So that's the majority of the marks. All right, let's see what we have going on. All right, Google Meet. If you guys are good with that, just kind of give me a quick G in the chat, please and thanks. All right, question? All right, far side. How are we feeling with Barney and Swiper? Yes, no, maybe? All right, near side. How are we doing? Good there? All right, cool. Two, three, four, five, six, seven. 7 out of 7, okay. All right, lovely. Okay, so we have about half an hour again. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to find a couple of questions where we have both appropriation accounts and current accounts to do. All right, put that down. That off. Maximize this. That's 20. Go back to the first page here. Sure, I might have journal entries. All right, so Shadi and Marty. Okay, maybe I could do that. Maybe we could try and try 19. Ooh, that's a nice one to try. All right. Okay, guys. So decided to kind of switch gears a little bit. Let me explain. So we have kind of one more aspect to deal with, which is the commencement of the partnership, right, and the journal entries that go along with that. What? Oh, yes. So Google Meet, I'll send you guys a PDF. You're probably better off writing it than anyone. Hold on, just now. I have to blank the screen off a little bit, right? One sec. Yeah, just give me a sec. We're gonna send this to the people in WhatsApp on Google Meet. Sorry. I show this stuff on the screen because it's people's personal information, and YouTube isn't flagging our videos and pulling down pieces of content. All right, cool. Back up on your yeah. Back up on reowning. Lovely, lovely. All right. All right. I'm gonna zoom in here so we can see him a bit more easily. All right, folks. This, just so you know, is a Jan 2015 partnership question. Now it says Shadi and Marty entered into a partnership on 1 Jan 2014 with the following assets at start: cash, equipment from Shadi, cash and vehicle from Marty. Prepare journal entries in the form provided below to record the capital of the partners on 1 Jan 2014. So if Shadi and Marty entered into a partnership, they are the partners being the owners of the entity. And any resource the owner brings in is classified as capital, right? And the capital is used to provide assets, right? So is that they use it to buy the assets or they are themselves the assets, which again is something called the dual nature of accounting. One item is technically two things at the same time, right? Now, how do we do these journal entries, right? So to do journal entries, we have to put in the debit items first, followed by the credit items, and usually have what we call a narration. So I'm going to show you all for Shadi, you will try Marty, and then I have our next question lined up already. Chris Anvin, right, Chris Anvin. Right, okay. So this is Shadi and Marty. Journal. They have a column for the date. I'm not gonna really, actually, maybe I should. Right. Right, so we have the date, details, FS folio. Not really necessary, to be honest. Debit and credit. I prefer to put DR and CR, but right. What was the date? 1 Jan 2014, right? So right. So check it. Again, when you're making a journal entry, what happens? Debit items come first, followed by the credit items. Now, for Shadi, what did Shadi put in? Cash and equipment. Those are both classified as assets, right? So we're gonna have cash. How much is cash? 50,000. Now, cash is an asset. It's increasing, and to record an increase in an asset, you have to debit the asset account. That's why we're debiting that item there. Equipment is also an asset, so we're gonna put that also under the debit column. Now, where did those items come from? They came from Shadi. Who is Shadi? One of the owners. And anything the owner contributes is classified as capital. So, capital, Shadi, will simply be the sum of those two values. Now, they didn't tell you whether or not to put narrations, but a narrative or a narration is a small description of the transaction being recorded above it. Usually it is mandatory, yeah? That's too small, sorry. Right, so it goes, and please note the credit entry, which is capital, and capital is being credited because it's increasing. Please note that the credit entry is indented relative to the debit entry. There's a space there. Like when you guys were taught in English to indent to start a new paragraph, that's what it means. Same thing here. Right, and this is to record the intro of cash. Right, so again, your debit items come first, followed by your credit items. Some teachers tell you, well, they had to add up both columns to make sure they're equal. I think if it have two items in one column and one in the next, you could probably eyeball that. When you have multiple items in each column, then you should probably show a total for each column, each transaction as well. Sorry, total debits, total credits for each transaction. Again, the folio column just kind of dead in the water. I mean, you could put it in, but that's the point right now. Sorry, I find that asleep there. Did not have coffee today. Okay, so what I want you all to try for me is I want you to try using, you could use the same format. Right? Again, if you want to see more boxes and borders. Sorry, I kind of cut out there for a couple seconds, my bad. Yeah, so again, what you're seeing there, right? You have to debit. The debit items go first, followed by the credit items. And of course, the sum of the debit items must be equal to the sum of the credit items. And the credit entry, right, is indented relative to the debit entries. And this narrative or narration is a very brief description of the above transaction. Now, it doesn't have to be that exact wording. It could be anything along those lines, right? Some people like to go a bit overboard and basically write out a whole paragraph for every transaction. I don't suggest that, although I myself am a stickler for details sometimes. So I would say use your best judgment. I have maths after from half 6 to half 8 question. All right, Google Meet. Can you guys give me a quick G in the chat if you guys are good with that, please? If you have anything you want me to re-explain, or you will give me an R. Okay, Teresa, we okay with that? Today, what about you? We okay with that? Far side, how are you feeling there? And this is Jaziri. Valentino, you okay with us on the board there? Right. Okay, right. So, I'll give you a minute or two again to finish off Marty's zone, and then we'll pull up our next question. All right, did I print it already? Okay. Darken. Both of these keep this information because we're going to use that to do the other stuff like the appropriation account okay, yeah. So, folks, I'll give you a minute or so again to finish off Marty's. What you got? We want to just handle this in next question. You could go ahead on that if you want. I'm gonna correct the second piece here just now. Right. So let's just actually kind of pull this up a little bit. I need to just skip a couple lines. So the same 01 January. Right. So Martina was bringing in cash of how much? 20,000 and vehicle. Right. 50,000. And then it is 50. So Marty. Right. Let's maximize that. See what we're working with. Name. Okay. Google Meet is going to mark with G if you guys are good with the journal entry here. right? And same thing for everybody in class. If you guys are good, sorry, yeah, are you guys okay with what's on the screen there for the journal entry? Any questions? Anybody? Anything? No have it? Oh, the narrative. Thank you. Yeah, cool. One. All right. So I think we have one more question to do. I gave you guys already. That was Chris and Boone, right? I'm gonna have to pull it up for the online people. Sorry. Okay. Cool. Right. So let's take a little read here. Right. So on March 1st, 2015, Chris and Vern decided to form a partnership to make and deliver fresh salads to offices and households. Okay, no problem. Right. Chris contributed 80,000 in cash and a motor vehicle at 20. Vern did 45 in cash and 25 in equipment. So it's pretty close to the previous question. Now it says prepare the journal entry to show the formation of the partnership. Right. So um, you can put them separately, you can put them together, right? But I need to take a quick walk and come back because I am knocking out on myself here real bad. So, yeah. So I can give you all about 5 minutes to organize this, right? Now keep these things because we're going to use this information on Wednesday to finish off the appropriation account and control accounts. I'll also let's try 2 or 3 in interesting partnership questions. Did I send a pic in the chat to this? I forgot. I did. Okay, cool. Right. So I'm gonna take a quick lap around the class and come back. Down here. Might need this. Sorry. A little bit more. Let me clear out this stuff one time. Okay, so for now you can do Chris first, you can do Vim first, doesn't matter. Right? So I'm gonna show you something here, right? So sorry. Right, so for Chris, cash and vehicle. Of course, this would be the capital. Guys, I cannot struggling here with this sleeping this way. Kind of bad today. Boon was cash. Equipment. Wow. Okay, what's going on here? Guys, I'm real sorry about that. Boon. I'm maximize that. This is another way you could have done it. Okay, so folks, I had to put a pin in the for today because I had to go and do something before my math class starts. Sorry. My wife calling me. Oh. Yeah, cascade. Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah. Yeah, guys, sorry. Right. So we basically finished like what you have to do for partnerships, to be honest. Yeah. But when they come on Wednesday, I have a couple of interesting questions I think you might want to take a look at, so we'll do that then. Anyway, guys, I'll see you some of y'all in about half an hour for maths. The rest of y'all, have a good evening. See you all on Wednesday. Bye.